A fool answereth before he listens, before he heareth. We are in a war right now, all of us. What's the first casualty of a war? The truth. I don't remember who said that, but someone smart said that. We're in a war for your beliefs. We're in a war for your brain. We're in a war for your daily decisions. Your choices that you make every day are a manifestation of your beliefs. That's why it's so important that you really carefully analyze and consider every belief that you have personally. Your choices have great impact on all spheres of life. They impact your soul, your spirit, your mind, and your body. That's everything. That's your whole entity. Pharmakeia is witchcraft. It's magic. It's sleight of hand. It's all over science. The results say this. The data says this, but magically, if we manipulate the statistics, change the qualification of the outliers, if we change the p-value, if we do these things, or even if we don't even do anything statistically to manipulate the data, and the data says this, well, we can still say, this pharmaceutical is totally safe and effective. This toxic chemical is totally safe and effective. It doesn't matter what the evidence says. Sleight of hand, witchcraft, sorcery, pharmakeia. This video is not for everyone. If you don't have discernment, it's not for you. If you don't have a love for the truth, I'm sorry, I love you, but it's not for you. Please go get a love for the truth. A deep and sincere love for the truth. If you're lazy in developing your beliefs, well, this video probably, again, isn't for you. I love you, but it's just probably not for you. Many things we've warned about for years are now being exposed as dangerous. You've got chemical plant fires, you've got chemical spills, train derailments, and people are flipping out about those chemicals. We've been warning about these chemicals for years, about people putting them, paying for them, and putting them in their homes. Why is this so shocking? Why are people freaking out now? Why were they freaking out years ago when we've been warning about these things? I've got an article that I'll link to below. 2019, I think it was from, with a selective list of toxins that we've been lied to about. Asbestos is something that a lot of people know because it's all over advertisements. If you had mesothelioma due to exposure to asbestos, call. Well, asbestos, we were told it was perfectly safe for decades, 100 years? I don't know how long, but it's a long time. Cigarettes? Yeah. It's only because of a very small dedicated group of scientists and doctors who bucked the corporations and said, no, your science isn't science. This is toxic. You're literally prescribing death to people. Stop prescribing death to people. Stop prescribing cancer to people. It's only because of that very small, dedicated, often discredited group of scientists and doctors that we today can confidently say that cigarettes are toxic and bad for your health. Glyphosate. Y'all know about glyphosate, Roundup? Oh yeah. You know what's more concerning than glyphosate? Other. What is other? We don't know. They don't have to tell us, because otherwise, they've got trademark law. Oh yeah, they've got trademark law, trade secret law. It's a secret. It's a secret. First, what does peer review really mean? People are literally running around with binders full of peer-reviewed research saying, this is a thing and this is how to treat it. This is a real thing and this is how to treat it. But they don't go back to basics. What is a virus? How are they isolated? How are they proven to cause harm? We've got a 5-minute video on that. I'll link to that below. The truth gets silenced. Peer review, it doesn't actually mean what we think it means. There are plenty of peer-reviewed studies from decades that say that cigarettes are perfectly healthy, But those peers that reviewed those studies and those that were published, those op-eds that were published in regards to those peer-reviewed studies, were only published for quite some time by peers who agreed with the corporate-derived narrative. Those are people who agreed with the propaganda. Here's an example. Climate science. This is not political. Okay, we don't touch politics here. We haven't voted for years. We know the truth. Two wings, one bird. Believe whatever you want. It's your choice, but your choices manifest in decisions, and that manifests in your life. And please don't worship a human. No human deserves our worship. No human. I don't care who he is or who she is. Climate science. This has been documented very clearly. Countless whistleblowers have come forth. Numerous climatologists have come forth and said, well, we have to say this, otherwise we don't get published. You have just an in crowd. This is like, it's like high school, okay? Climatology is like high school, where you have an in crowd. And if you're in with the in crowd, then you get to do whatever you want. And people love you, or at least they pretend to love you. You get to publish if you're in with the in crowd. But if you say anything against the in crowd, you don't get published. You get discredited. You get attacked. A lot of research is, and this has been exposed in climatology. A lot of research is erroneously applied to irrelevant circumstances. For example, in vitro studies versus the actual human body. We don't understand the human body. We're stupid humans. We don't understand the human body. We really don't. We are beautifully and marvelously made. Truly, truly incredible. Such arrogance today that we can understand everything. We know everything. Our tests are perfect. Trust the experts. Trust the tests. Such self-deceit. They'll get theirs. Don't worry about them. In vitro means that it's conducted in a petri dish, typically, in a lab. Now, sometimes it does translate to the human body. Oftentimes it doesn't. Animal studies versus human studies. A lot of them are torture. It's unnecessary. It's not okay. Torture is wicked and evil, and it's unacceptable, morally. I don't care who you are. Torture is never okay. For example, there have been whistleblowers who have come out about Neuralink. Neuralink, if you're unaware, is Elon Musk's little baby. Elon Musk is not on our side. He never has been, and he never will be. He's one of them. He's one of the people who poison us. Who do you think owns Starlink? Starlink, that's the balloons that are frying everything on Earth. Neuralink basically is the brain-computer link. Put it in a nutshell, okay? And it's been tested on primates, and whistleblowers have come out and said, this is wicked, this is evil, it's not okay. They're just completely traumatized by what they've seen, and understandably so. If you're human, then seeing those things would be traumatizing if you have a soul. Liver transplants. Okay. My mom, I share in our book, Poison, Failed by Western Medicine, Modern Construction, Corporate Interests, where things started for me. And it all went back to when I was a baby. My mom was diagnosed with hepatitis B, and she was, of course, given very, very, very toxic, potent antivirals. What do toxic, potent antivirals do? They destroy your liver. So what happened? Her liver just got worse and worse and worse. And so she ended up with liver spots all over her, and she literally itched for 7 years. Hepatitis B is not what we're told. Nothing is what we are told. People are curing hepatitis B right and left naturally today by detoxing their lives, detoxing their diet, using coffee enemas, things like that, sweating, infrared saunas. That might be an instance to consider, infrared saunas. People are curing it right and left. Well, didn't know any better then. I was a kid. I wouldn't have known. In 1989, she was the first human to have a liver transplant and then take. She wasn't the first human to have a liver transplant, period, but she was the first one to take the FK504, which is Prograf. The brand name is Prograf, and the actual name is FK504. She was the longest living person to take it because she was the first person to take it. The other people who had liver transplants around the same time that she did, most of them were older, not a lot older, but a little bit older, and they all died within 5 to 15 years or so. I don't remember. Yeah. So she had the liver transplant in 1989, and then it was 2016 that she passed away. And she passed away, according to the doctors, because of that drug, because it caused cancer in her stomach lining, which was very difficult to diagnose. And as I share in my book, I lived in the hospital with her for 7 weeks or so to take care of her, because Western medicine will fail you. Stay out of the hospitals and the ERs if possible. I have some books that I need to share soon with you guys that I needed for myself. Because if I hurt myself, then I need to be able to treat myself, because I can't go to the ER. It was years ago that my allergist, who I used to see, who I don't see anymore, said, just don't go anymore because they're going to kill you. Like, if you keep going for I asked him, I said, can I not go for anaphylaxis anymore? Because, I stopped going because they didn't know what to do with me. One of the most toxic places in the world in Western society is the ER. It is the hospital. So my mom was a nurse. No wonder. It's no surprise that she was over toxic. Had a huge toxic burden, as I just stumbled with my words. So after monkeys, she was the first human to take FK504. Her doctors were Starzl and Fung. They've been on Discovery Channel, TLC, etc. So these animal trials were torture for the animals. They were unnecessary. The liver transplant that she endured and the torture that she endured at the hands of modern medicine, all were completely preventable and unnecessary. But the thing is that a lot of times animal studies don't translate to humans when it comes to whether a drug is tolerable and as to the side effects. Now, a lot of times if a drug is found to be toxic in animals, or if a chemical is found to be toxic in animals, such as if it hurts frogs, if it hurts them at a cellular level, it's going to hurt us at a cellular level as well, in some way, shape, or form. Again, this torture, all in the name of Pharmakeia, all in the name of science, Western medicine, science. We're so advanced and smart and intelligent. So science, a lot of research is erroneously, as I've just shared, in regards to in vitro versus the human body and animal studies versus human studies. It's erroneously applied to irrelevant circumstances. Now, there is controlled opposition within science. People who come to accurate conclusions, such as, hey, EMFs are bad. There's a lot of plants, industry plants. Well, they will come to the correct conclusion, but they'll use crap, junk science to get there. Those people are plants. Don't listen to them. These people are easily discredited, and then the people who follow them are thus discredited. So beware, be careful. Popular websites that are green, natural. I'm not going to name names because I'm a little bit more couth than that. Major controlled opposition. Major controlled opposition. I will link below to a study that makes the rounds regularly in EMF circles and in natural health circles. It's in regards to EMFs. The study is crap. Anyone who can read a study, anyone who has the slightest experience in understanding and research methods will not say this is a good study. They will say, stop sharing this study. Stop talking about this study as if it's actually scientific. But those plants, that controlled opposition, those people share that study regularly as evidence. It is evidence of nothing except junk science. So we've got a video from, I think, 2020 about why aren't people talking about this? Why aren't people talking about how science is not scientific today? Well, my conclusion, and what I realized when I was recording that video, people get whacked. Like, literally, they get murdered. They get suicided. They get, they end up in these bizarre car crashes. They end up dying strange ways. You know, people who get suicided who there's no evidence at all. They disappear. Some people just plain disappear. Whistleblowers get whacked. That's what happens. That's the world we live in. We've got a series, How to Research Everything series. I'm not going to address how to thoroughly assess a study anymore. I had planned to. I do have a few videos that may be relevant to that topic. The reason I'm not going to is for me, when I was continuing to read studies in 2020, and I realized, okay, over 90% are junk science. Then I stopped reading them. The world is continuing to be flooded with more and more lies and deception. It's only gotten worse. So why waste your time? Why waste my time? Why would I waste my time in trying to educate people about this when it doesn't even matter anymore, because almost everything is gone that is actually scientific? I've got an article with over 75 authoritative citations posted on it about vaccines, and I don't even know how many of those studies are still up. If you go to PubMed and search for specific topics, or if you go to Google Scholar, it used to be that you could actually find real research, and that's just not the case anymore. All you find is corporate propaganda. Also, it would be very time intensive. It would be probably 150 hours of lecturing just to tell you how to evaluate a study. I will share some things in this video. Many people claim to read studies these days, but they're just regurgitating quotes from the abstract or from the conclusions. Did they read the entire study? Probably not. Did they research the researchers? Because some researchers, if you look at their op-eds, it's clear what they believe, and so they're going to be hostile to the truth. Did they look at disclosed and undisclosed confounds in the study? What about statistical manipulation? This is extremely common. We've got a video up on Pharmakeia about the CDC and their statistical manipulation. It's right out there in the open about their statistical manipulation. What about the p-value? What about the outliers? How were the outliers qualified? So an outlier in a study is the data that's thrown away. They say, well, this doesn't matter. Was that valid? Were those real outliers? Should they have been discarded? Because generally you want to keep the outliers in if you're actually doing real science. Did the researcher analyze their study and then rip it to shreds? Because that's what a real scientist does. Just saying, experience there, okay? Was there a control group? Was there? Really? In a survey, were the questions and answers carefully designed? Are they leading? Do the results actually support the conclusion, or is the researcher making unfounded assertions? This happens all the time, where the data says this and the researcher says the opposite in conclusion. What about the replicability crisis? Has this been replicated? Probably not, because we've been in a replicability crisis for over 2 decades. Who funded it? And these are just a few things, just a few considerations, okay? If you buy a couple of old research methods books, you can do that. I would recommend from the 90s or early 2000s. I wouldn't recommend any research methods books that were more recent. If you truly understand everything you read in those books, then maybe you might want to look at studies. But I still don't recommend it. It's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Beware the ivory tower language. A lot of times studies will To the lay person, they'll appear to say one thing, but if you actually understand what they're saying, that's not what they're saying. They're saying the opposite. But they're pulling the wool over people's eyes. Pharmakeia. Sleight of hand. This is not a problem, not just in academia. Some professors do make their primary income from corporations. Judges. Some judges have said, well, this multinational corporation operates like the mafia. So would the mafia support valid science, do you think? Or would they expect assertions that pad their bottom line? These are judges that made these assertions in open court, not me. Many studies are funded by these multinational corporations. So of course they're not going to uphold the basic standards of science. Of course the scientists are going to do what they're told because they don't want to get whacked by the mafia, aka Pharmakeia, by whatever industry. Some studies are 100% falsified. I will link below to an example. You won't believe what that cancer researcher did and how he didn't pay for what he did. Well, why is this the case today? Well, I've already discussed Pharmakeia. We've got an article on our website about Pharmakeia. It used to be super popular. We used to get 7,000 hits a week from it on Google. Now we get about 70 a month. Yeah, Google seriously have been putting the hammer down on us. The cult of scientism. Trust the experts. That's a cult, but that also goes back to Pharmakeia. Control. Fear and anger. If you are angry or if you are fearful, then you are controllable. This purpose of this fake science everywhere. I see junk science everywhere. You know that Haley Joel Osment movie? I see dead people. I see junk science. The goal is just to set up a worldwide technocracy. I share in our book about technocracy and how it failed me in medicine. But this worldwide technocracy is ruled by the scientific elite. Humans are still going to be part of the equation, but minimally. It's going to be, mostly do this because Fauci et al. Says so, or your phone is going to tell you what to do. This is going to be by the scientific elite via technology. So that's the purpose for all of this. That's the purpose for the lack of science thereof today. Again, a fool answereth before he heareth. So don't answer unless you actually know. As I share in our book, I've cured pages and pages and pages of diagnoses. Have you cured pages and pages and pages of diagnoses? Have you? By your own research, by your own discernment and experimentation. There's a lot you can do to help your health today. Explore our website, sign up for our free newsletter. We've got tons of resources online for you. Until next time, non-toxic out.